What's up, guys? My name is David Warren. Welcome back to this week's video. Today we are talking about advice I have for newer nurse practitioners or people considering going to nurse practitioner school. If that's you, you need to continue watching because I've got a lot to say about this. I have addressed some of this in other videos. I will link them above, but if you are watching this video, chances are you are highly considering going to nurse practitioner school, and I've got some good information to share with you. All right, number one, I would say have your goals in mind before you pull the trigger. So what does that look like? Know kind of what you want to do end goal wise. I would say I've seen lots of people, friends included, who have decided, oh, I want to go back to nurse practitioner school just to go back. I actually had a friend, more of an acquaintance, that had a friend who was going back to nurse practitioner school, and she's like, oh, I'll just tag along with you. But really, didn't really have any ideas to what she wanted to do or if she even wanted to do it. And there's so many things wrong with that. Like, first of all, how can you get in? That just baffles my mind. You should not be able to get in that easy to an NP program, but that's not the video for this, so we're not going to talk about that. But I would say have your goals in mind. Know kind of the path you want to take and what you want to do. If you know that, then you're at a good place in life. But know kind of, do you want to practice internal medicine? Do you want to practice family medicine? The biggest question is, know what specialty you want to go into NP-wise. So do I want to be a family NP? Do I want to be an acute care NP? Do I want to be a pediatric NP? Do I want to be a women's health NP? And again, I hate the division, but that is the reality of our profession. So you have to know going in what you want to do. The worst case scenario and the thing that you don't want to do is go into nurse practitioner school, pick a specialty, get out, pass your boards, and then realize I absolutely hate this. I can't do it. I don't want to do it anymore, et cetera, et cetera. You've wasted so much time, so much energy, so much money. Don't do that. Really have a good idea of what you want to do before you pull the trigger going to nurse practitioner school. And again, that looks like choosing a specialty. Maybe you don't know if you want to work inpatient or outpatient or kind of what area, and that's fine, but you need to know that before you go to nurse practitioner school. How can you do that? Shadow. Go find a nurse practitioner to shadow. If you live in DFW, come shadow me. I would love to have somebody shadow me. I take students on, in the midst of COVID. That's not really a thing right now, but shadow a nurse practitioner if you have the opportunity. And I would highly, highly advise you to shadow a nurse practitioner before you pull the trigger on going to nurse practitioner school, because you need to know what you're getting yourself into. Have your goals in mind as to what you want to do. You need to make sure this is actually something that I want to commit to and something that I want to do, because let me tell you, it's different than bedside nursing. It's different than being a physician. It's different than being a CRNA. And that kind of leads me into the tail end of this point. Shadow other professions too. If you shadow a nurse practitioner, go shadow a doctor, go shadow a CRNA, go shadow a PA. Get a breadth of knowledge before you pull the trigger on going to nurse practitioner school. And you need to shadow different people. That's kind of what it comes down to. Know what you're getting yourself into by having your career goals in mind, and shadow some different providers so you can see what it's really like. Because maybe you think you want to be a nurse practitioner, you go shadow one and you realize, I don't want to do this. So save yourself a lot of money and a lot of time if that's not the career that you want to do. But definitely have your goals in mind. And kind of the end point of that is it takes time. After you've been a nurse for 1 year, you don't have the experience. You don't have the knowledge about the healthcare system to know, is this something I want to do? I would highly encourage you to be a nurse for several years. I know that's not what you want to hear, but be a nurse for several years, get your feet wet, learn the ropes of healthcare, and then decide if that's truly what you want to do. So have your goals in mind, know what you want. Number two, know what you're getting yourself into. Know what you're getting yourself into. And that kind of encompasses a lot of things. First of all, know the job market. If you live in a super saturated area and you're not willing to move, don't go back to nurse practitioner school, because you're probably not going to find a job. Save yourself time and money. Now, if you're willing to move, then sure, go back to nurse practitioner school and maybe move somewhere if you can't get a job in your area. But I think every potential nurse practitioner needs to know that there is big time saturation of the market. So I can't guarantee you in 5 or 10 years the profession is still going to be going and there's going to be jobs available and pay is going to be what it is now, because that's likely not going to be the case. And I'm not trying to discourage you from going to nurse practitioner school. That's not the point of this video. But I want you to know what you're getting yourself into. Know that there is heavy saturation of the job market and it is difficult finding a job. So what does that mean? Have connections. If you're considering going to nurse practitioner school, chances are you're a nurse. Hopefully you're a nurse. And maybe you're not. Actually, I say hopefully. Maybe you are a high school student or a college student watching this video. That's totally fine. Go to nursing school first. Find out if this is really what you want to do. But you got to know what you're getting yourself into. Know the job market. Spend some time figuring out, what does a job market look like in my area? Am I willing to up and move myself or my family across the United States to get a job as a nurse practitioner? Is that something I really want to do? I also think you need to know what the pay is. So I've done plenty of salary videos. Check those out if you haven't. Know what pay potential is. And so, if you live in San Francisco, California, the cost of living is pretty high, and nurse practitioners probably don't get paid a whole lot. So know what the pay is. Don't go into being a nurse practitioner with like unrealistic expectations that you're going to make $200,000 a year in like a certain area, and then you actually get there and you're only making $100,000. So kind of know what you are getting into before you pull the trigger and do it. I hope that makes sense. All right, last point, that is be prepared to work hard. I know these are very broad, big picture points, but you have to be prepared to work hard. So as a nurse practitioner, you're going to spend a whole lot of time in school studying. Grad school is a little different. Grad school is very different from undergrad and from nursing school. It is very much self-taught, self-reading, self-motivating, self-everything. So know that before you go in, that you're not going to be spoon-fed information. They're not going to tell you everything you need to know for the test. They're going to give you, I'll kind of tell you what a day would look like for me. So when we would get new study material, there would be a PowerPoint presentation, plus or minus on the lecture, and then there would be about 10 different journal articles that we would have to go through. And so you really have to be committed to reading and to studying and to learning the material. Now, there are ways to pass school without doing that. There are plenty of people that I know who have passed NP school who didn't read, who didn't study, etc., etc. However, you are doing yourself and your patients a disservice by doing that. You really need to know the material, because you're not training to pass a test. You actually are training to take care of somebody and to put their lives in your hands. And that is a big responsibility and something that you really need to take seriously. So be prepared to work hard. Know that you're going to spend a whole lot of time studying. You're going to have to make commitments to school. You're going to have to make commitments to your family, saying that I'm probably not going to be available every single day of the week to go out and drink. There's certain things you're going to have to get lined up and, to prepare for nurse practitioner school. And a lot of that looks like knowing what the hard work is going to be. And so I don't want to fool you and say it's going to be an easy ride. And a lot of it depends on your life circumstances. So I'm single. I don't have any kids, never been married. It was pretty easy for me to like hole up in my apartment and study and not, really worry about anything else. If you have kids, that's a different story. You got another life to take care of. If you have a husband, you got like a bunch of different lives to take care of. I'm just kidding. If you have a wife, you see what I'm saying? If you have a family, it's going to be more challenging to make this happen. There are different commitments that you're going to have to make and different sacrifices you're going to have to make. So just be prepared to work hard. Be prepared to take a lot of exams. The national certification exam is challenging depending on your specialty. They're all challenging, but depending on your specialty, some may be a little harder than others. Be prepared to work hard. Be prepared to study and to make sacrifices. Ultimately, it's worth it. But like I said, have your goals in mind. Know what you want to do before you go in. Don't go in being a family nurse practitioner and realize at the end, this isn't what I want to do. That's not a good mistake to make. Know what you're getting yourself into. So know the job market, know the pay, Be willing to move if you can't find a job. That's the biggest thing I can tell you, is that's kind of a huge issue in our day and time, is oversaturation of the market. And then third, be prepared to work hard. Be prepared to put in the time, put in the effort to take care of your patients, because their lives are going to be in your hands. So comment below, ask me questions. I'm here to answer your questions. So thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.